Welcome to a brand new episode of Curious and Inspired. I am your host, Matt Vandrick. Have we entered our first AI-powered war? So in our first story, we're going to discuss how the far-reaching impact of artificial intelligence has officially entered the chat, and the dangers are more critical than you think. Then we're going to talk about the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping story and what it tells us about the illusions of safety and security that we take for granted every single day. And our third big story is going to be understanding what's really happening with OpenAI, Anthropic, and the Pentagon, and why all of us need to be seeing this as the big warning. And then finally, for the thought of the week, we'll discuss some things I've been contemplating around the changing definition of what it means to be human. All that and more on this episode of Curious and Inspired. Let's get into it, shall we? Is this the first AI war? Experts are saying that it is. The war against Iran began on February 28th, 2026. And if you're picturing what war has always looked like in American history books, soldiers with rifles, paratroopers jumping from planes, boots hitting foreign soil, you're picturing a completely different era. That type of war is over. Today's wars have integrated artificial intelligence and nothing will ever look the same ever again. So here's what that means in real terms. According to techpolicy.press, in the first 24 hours of strikes against Iran, U.S. forces hit 1,000 targets. U.S. forces hit 1,000 targets in a single day. That number would have been flatly impossible without AI. The Washington Post reported that a platform called Maven, overseen by Palantir and powered by Claude, Anthropic's AI model, generated hundreds of targets, issued precise location coordinates, and prioritized which ones to hit. AI helped decide what gets destroyed and in what order. During World War II, when there were boots on the ground, this would have been impossible. Even in the most intense battles, no one was hitting 1,000 targets in a single day. That is the scale of what AI has unlocked in warfare. And with that scale comes a staggering new risk: civilian casualties that happen faster than any human can intervene, review, or stop. Wars happen. History has always included some sort of conflict, unfortunately. But the goal, at least what I believe it to be, is to move toward peace, negotiation, restraint. When you can press a button and destroy 1,000 targets before the sun rises, you have removed restraint from the equation entirely. Countless lives, communities, and entire countries' worth of infrastructure gone at a speed no previous generation could have imagined. The craziest part here is that none of that required an aircraft carrier, or a stealth bomber, or a $1 trillion defense budget. Iran proved that before this war even started. Strategic drone development, AI-assisted targeting, and suddenly the most expensive military on earth has a new kind of problem. The technology doesn't care how much your opponent spent. A fleet of drones and the right software rewrites the math entirely. The era where power belonged to whoever spent the most is closing. And we all have to live with whatever comes next. Here's what I really want y'all to be paying attention to. Because when we talk about AI, just in a general sense, it's always about, productivity tools, a better way to write your resume, summarize your emails, or plan your vacation. They're describing only one sliver of what this technology is and what it is already being used for. So we're watching in real time AI reshape the scale and speed of destruction in war. And that is not a distant or hypothetical risk. We're living in it right now. There doesn't seem to be any off switch. There is no vote you can cast or app that you can delete, no congressman that you can call to slow this down. The companies building these systems answer to contracts, not to us. The governments deploying them aren't asking for our permission. So here we are watching armed forces use this technology to create devastating impact all around the world. What do you think about AI being used for war? Let me know in the comments. So there's a lot going on globally, but how about here on the home front? Safety in general is top of mind for all of us, and it got me thinking about the perception of safety in our own communities, especially on the heels of the unfortunate case of Nancy Guthrie. So a quick recap. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, mother of NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie, has been missing from Tucson, Arizona since February 1st. Authorities believe she was taken against her will. So there are significant resources being devoted to finding her, and as of right now, she is still missing. Nancy lived in a gated community and had a Ring camera at her front door. Both of these things are supposed to provide safety. It's the entire sales pitch, but the illusion of safety is noise. The gap between feeling safe and actually being safe is getting wider every day, and the technology that we buy is filling that gap with false confidence. Let's start with the Ring camera. Nancy Guthrie had one. Millions of people have one, and the companies that sell these systems do an excellent job of making you feel like that little lens on your front door is your first line of defense. But this case taught us in real time that a Walmart face mask defeats a security camera every single time. If someone intends to harm you and they've got their face covered, that camera is not going to do much. The illusion of safety provided by Ring cameras is noise. And it gets worse. Most home alarm systems are connected to a monitoring company that automatically dispatches police when the alarm is triggered, which sounds really reassuring. But Nancy Guthrie also had this as well. It was disconnected at 1:47 a.m. And once it's disconnected, there's no alert, there's no dispatch. The system that was supposed to protect her had a simple, obvious vulnerability. And whoever took her knew exactly how to exploit it. Noise. And even with gated communities, people pay a serious premium to live behind those gates, but they aren't that hard to pass by tailgating a car or just climbing a gate. The cruel irony is that sometimes criminals are more attracted to gated communities because of the wealth that they signal. The allure of safety, because you live in a gated community, is noise. Traffic light cameras. So we've all watched enough Law and Order to believe that if something goes wrong, the police can pull the footage from every camera on the street and solve the case in a couple days. That didn't happen here. The technology that we've been conditioned to trust as a safety net came up short. Again, noise. So the marketing for all these products is really, really good. The feeling of safety is real, but that feeling is not a fact. According to a 2023 study by the University of North Carolina, most convicted burglars said security cameras did not deter them. They simply adjusted their approach. These are tools that create the sensation of security without reliably delivering it. And when we mistake the sensation for reality, we get blindsided. It's so crazy that sometimes what actually works better is just old school methods, presence, community, varying your routines. Get a dog, get a bat. Know your neighbors well enough that someone notices when something is off. Don't broadcast when you're alone or when you're away. There's safety in numbers. There always has been. And that's the deeper trade that we continue to make when it comes to our reliance on technology. It's almost like we outsourced our own vigilance to these products. We stopped watching out for each other the moment we could buy something to watch for us. We traded community for convenience during one of the most dangerous times of our lifetime. The noise here is loud. Ring cameras, gated communities, they all say that you are protected. But Nancy Guthrie had all of those things. But what do you think? Do you use Ring cameras, security systems, or any tech to protect yourself at home? If not, how do you make yourself feel safe? Let me know in the comments. If you were in a boat and the captain jumped off, would you be worried? I would. And that's kind of what's happening at OpenAI and Anthropic. CNN recently reported that researchers at both Anthropic and OpenAI are exiting those companies at alarming rates. And they're not leaving quietly. The former head of Anthropic's safeguards research team left with a warning. Quote, "The world is in peril." A researcher from OpenAI echoed that, revealing that AI has what they called, quote, "a potential for manipulating users in ways we don't have the tools to understand, let alone prevent," end quote. Are y'all paying attention? This is a signal. The people with the most inside knowledge, the ones who actually built these systems, are saying, I'm getting off this shit. These companies are moving way too fast, disregarding safety protocols and downplaying what this technology is actually capable of. They have their foot on the gas, a blindfold over their eyes, and your kid in the back seat with no seatbelt. And then, just when we were still processing the wave of high-profile exits, something else happened. According to Time magazine, Anthropic, widely considered by many observers to be the most safety conscious of the top AI research labs, quietly dropped the central pledge of its flagship safety policy. In 2023, Anthropic made a formal commitment. They would never train an AI system unless they could guarantee in advance that their safety measures were adequate. That was the line in the sand that they drew. That was the promise. Now, that promise is gone. Jared Kaplan, Anthropic's own chief science officer, explained this to Time magazine. Quote, "We didn't really feel with the rapid advance of AI that it made sense for us to make unilateral commitments if competitors are blazing ahead." There it is, folks. Capitalism always comes knocking in the morning. This man is talking about competitors. We're talking about real impact to society, safety, humanity. He's talking about competitors. The leaders of these companies are in a race to capture market share, and they are willing to move the safety goalposts to stay in the lead, even at the expense of the rest of us, it seems. That's the part I want you to pay attention to more. There's a pattern here. Every time a technology becomes too powerful and too profitable, safety becomes negotiable. Nuclear energy, social media, and now AI. The difference is speed. We used to get decades or at least a couple years to course correct. or at the very least, acknowledge that there was a problem. Now, at most, we get a few months. So I don't want to be alarmist, but I do want to keep it real. This is the companies themselves telling us through their own actions that something has shifted, and not necessarily in our favor. And here's some additional context that could help. Anthropic refused to comply with demands from the Pentagon to use their AI products to surveil American citizens. They refused and were effectively blacklisted from government contracts. OpenAI stepped right into the space and said yes. OpenAI took the deal. And in doing so, they made their position very clear. The US government's requests come before their users' rights. And the people responded. They've been leaving ChatGPT in droves, canceling their paid subscriptions and switching to Claude instead, pushing it very quickly to the #1 spot in the App Store. That is the power of the people. But now, with Anthropic walking back some of its own safety commitments, we have to be very clear about this. They seem to be kind of playing both sides of the fence. And really, no company should get unconditional loyalty. None of them. I think that we're past the point of return with AI. It's woven into society now, and that is not going to change. But that makes accountability more important than it ever has been. If the company whose product you're using is quietly dismantling the guardrails that they promised you, you need to acknowledge that and move accordingly. You don't really have to use any of these tools, but whatever you do use, you have the right and really the responsibility to keep asking the hard questions about who's really driving the ship and where their priorities for the business actually are. What was your reaction to what happened with OpenAI and ChatGPT? Did you end up leaving ChatGPT to go over to Claude? Let me know in the comments. Before we get into the thought of the week, I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about lately, something that's been keeping me genuinely curious. And that is about the balance that we strike between the things we love about AI and the things that we may not love so much about AI. For example, what if you don't like AI for writing, but you liked it for other tasks? It turns out that that's not fully a contradiction. I want us to be able to start holding space for both things to be true at the same time. And actually, Ben Affleck is a perfect case study for this. Ben Affleck, actor, director, Academy Award-winning screenwriter who took home the Oscar for Good Will Hunting alongside Matt Damon back in 1998, has exactly one word for AI-generated screenwriting: shitty. This is a man who speaks thoughtfully in almost every interview he gives, and that is the word that he chose. On a January episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Affleck explained his position. Quote, "By its nature, it goes to the mean, to the average, and it's not reliable. I mean, I can't even stand to see what it writes," close quote. The Writers Guild of America has pushed hard for protections against AI and Hollywood contracts for exactly this reason. Working writers understand what Affleck is describing. Because AI doesn't take risks. It doesn't have a point of view of its own. It synthesizes. It doesn't really bleed onto the page the way a human writer would. And look, for a lot of people, that's genuinely useful. Not everyone needs to be a great writer. Sometimes you just need AI to help you draft a quick email or punch up a cover letter or put together a blog post. That's okay, and that's fine. But there's a plot twist. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Ben Affleck's AI film startup, Interpositive, was just acquired by Netflix. Affleck founded the company several years ago to develop proprietary AI-powered tools designed to help filmmakers work in what he described as a fast and efficient way while centering the humanity of it all. Netflix acquiring the company is a significant vote of confidence, given that Netflix spent over $17 billion on content in 2024 alone and has been aggressively investing in production technology. So this is what I was talking about with that balance that we can strike, right? So the man who called AI writing shitty on one of the most listened to podcasts in the world also built an entire company around AI tools for filmmakers and just sold it to one of the most powerful studios on the planet. And I'm kind of okay with that. Two things can absolutely be true at the same time. You can believe that AI has no business ghostwriting human stories while also believing that AI can make the logistical, technical side of filmmaking faster and smarter. You can reject AI as a creative replacement while embracing it as a production tool. This makes it clear that the problem isn't just about AI itself. It's all about the intention and the integrity of who's using it. Ben Affleck clearly understands that difference, and I want you to as well. Whether or not you've drawn that line for yourself, it's good to know where it is, because that really is what this all comes down to. It's less about what it can do and more about what you'll ask it to do. So, thought of the week. There is a lot going on in the world, and all of it has me thinking about humanity itself. Specifically, what does it mean to be human today? Think about what a normal day looks like. You wake up and your phone reads your face before it lets you in. You open Instagram and within 30 seconds, it knows your mood better than your closest friend because it's been studying your scroll pattern for years. You have a conversation with an AI assistant and don't even think twice about it. You search for something once and it follows you across every screen you own for the next 2 weeks. And that's just a regular Tuesday morning. Plus, there's stuff happening underneath that most of us don't even think about. When you travel, a camera scans your face instead of checking your ID. Your conversations with AI are legally open to being subpoenaed. Your browsing data is being sold to people you will never meet. Your behavior is being predicted by systems you've never seen for purposes you've never been told. There are 3 shifts that have happened over the past couple years I want to talk about today. Shift 1, your body is your login. Your face unlocks your phone, your fingerprint accesses your bank. Your iris may soon be your passport. We've turned our biology into a password with such swift and steady precision that we sometimes don't even think twice about it. What are the implications of living in a world where your autonomy is tied to your physical form? Shift 2, surveillance is no longer something that happens to you. It's the default. Your location, your search history, your behavior patterns. Privacy used to be the default. Now it's an option. You have to opt out of being exposed. Surveillance is now the standard, everywhere, for everything. Shift 3, the normalization of AI. The machines are becoming more human-like, and it seems like the humans are becoming more machine-like. People are forming real relationships with AI, asking it for advice, telling it their personal problems, feeling genuinely heard by it. And I'm not here to judge that, but I do want to create dialogue about what that really means. There is an over-reliance on machines that we need to watch out for. If a machine can make you feel more understood than the people around you, is that an achievement of technology or a failure of humanity? Maybe it's both. Or worse, it's an achievement of technology that's causing the failure of humanity. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. All 3 of these notions are reshaping what personhood means in real time. Perhaps the bigger thing I'm noticing is that every conversation around AI is so tied to productivity. Everything is always about what AI can do. Can it write? Can it code? Can it replace your job? Write thousands of emails for the rest of the month with AI. Create a business plan in 20 minutes with AI. Spam 100 of your friends without lifting a finger. It's like, why? Why do we need to do any of this? I want to talk less about what AI is doing for us and more about what it's doing to us. Careers and livelihood are important, yes, but so is your anxiety. So is your autonomy. So is your active choice to slow down while the entire world feels like it's going off the rails. My concern is more about how we relate to each other, what we expect from a conversation, a relationship, from being known as a human being. The measure of technology should not just be about how much it can produce. It should also be about how much humanity it preserves and empowers. And things are moving so fast, we aren't even considering that as a notion. Or worse, the conditioning of capitalism has made it such that the average person may consider those things as a moot point as long as revenues are up. So here's what I want to reframe for us. 4 things to actually think about and take with you. 1, audit your relationship with technology, not just your usage of it. Screen time is definitely a concern, but the problem is way bigger than just how much time you're spending. I want you to also pay attention to how you feel after. Are you more yourself or less? More connected or more isolated? More fulfilled or more hollow? The answer to that tells you everything about whether a tool is helping or harming you. 2, learn to tell the difference between technology that serves you and technology that surveils you. Every tool you use is doing one or the other. Start noticing which is which. That awareness alone changes how you move through the world, the decisions you make, and what you choose to share and not share. 3, protect your spirit. Not every thought needs to be a post. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Not every moment needs to be documented. Your inner world is not dead weight. It's actually your greatest source of power. When was the last time you had an idea that you kept it just to yourself to build from? I want you to guard that and truly consider drawing a more meaningful line between what's meant for broadcast and what's meant to nurture your spirit. 4, decide who gets to define you. So your biometrics have become your identity. Your data is becoming your profile. Your behavior is being predicted before you even have a chance to act on it. So the question is, are you deciding who you are and what you do, or is the machine deciding for you? These are the things that are keeping me curious. How about you? What does any of this make you think about your own life, the people around you, or the things that you do every day? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to go deeper on this topic, I wrote an essay on this on CuriousInspired.com called What Does It Mean to Be Human Now? So go check that out. That, my friends, is the thought of the week. As always, stay curious, stay inspired. All right. And now it's time for Ask Matt. Yo, Matt, I find the internet so draining these days and everyone is angry, even me sometimes. As someone who posts a lot, works in tech, and uses social media and the internet so much, how do you stay fulfilled and sane? That's a great question. How do I stay fulfilled and sane? I don't, actually. Does anyone? These days, the news cycle throws me off every single day. I am genuinely exhausted. I have days when I'm scrolling and I can feel my mood shifting in real time. The feed can be super heavy and people aren't the friendliest. The comment section can be toxic. And before you know it, you're carrying energy that wasn't even yours to carry. The thing that works for me, I guess, is recognizing the moment when it's happening, right? Because it's possible sometimes for you to take a piece of information in and it changes your mood without you even realizing that it happened. And so you have to recognize the moment where it does happen. The moment where the scroll stops being informational and starts feeling emotionally taxing. That moment is your exit ramp. You got to get out of there. We talked about this a little bit in the previous episode as well, but the core of it is your inputs determine your outputs. If everything you're consuming is outrage and negativity, that's what you're going to carry into your day, into your work, into your interactions and conversations with other people. You have to curate aggressively. And it's really not just about who you follow, but also when you engage, how long you stay, and what you do immediately after you put the phone down. With everything going on today, reset is not optional. You have to make it a practice. Put your phone down and go outside. Put some music on that shifts your energy. Go cook. Go call your friend. Whatever pulls you back into your own frequency. Figure out what that is for you and do it daily. Do it before you feel burnt out. Do it as a practice so you avoid being burnt out. There's an essay about this on CuriousInspired.com called Control the Mood, Control the Mind. Go check that out. The way that the world works today, the internet is going to drain you. You have to manage it. The part about managing it is entirely on us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the show. I had so much fun here with y'all today. Until next time, as always, stay curious, stay inspired. Y'all be good. Peace. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for new episodes Thursdays bi-weekly at 8 p.m. Connect more with me at CuriousInspired.com and at CuriousInspired on all socials. Thanks for watching. As always, stay curious, stay inspired. Y'all be good. Peace.